Good evening to those bored enough to watch. As you can see throughout the entirety of the month of October, I basically did nothing to change my channel's aesthetic in general in preparation for Halloween. Partially because I don't really care for Halloween, nor do I celebrate it. At first, I wasn't necessarily planning on making this video, because if I didn't care about something, then why should I even bother trying to talk about it? For those who've watched a few of my other videos, this is the part where I'd be expected to state that I'm once again attempting to experiment and make a video about a topic that I deem to be nonchalant. But, to the surprise of us both, I'm not here to state such a thing. I did spend some time thinking the making of this video through before doing any planning on it, and then it struck me. I don't really need to celebrate something if I want to have a reason to, at the very least, talk about it. I don't necessarily need to care either, since there are some things in regards to this spooky holiday that I find to be worth talking about. So maybe I do care about it in my own stupid way. As I stated before, I didn't prepare for this season by changing my name, banner or profile picture or anything of that sort, for reasons that I'll discuss in due course. I also intend on discussing why I chose to stick to my guns during the making of this video essay as opposed to making a new sprite that's in more resemblance of Halloween. So, with all of that planning out of the way, I currently sit here on the 22nd of October, 2021, at 11:37 PM, and tonight, I intend on discussing why I think Halloween is just another ordinary Sunday. So, with that said, let's discuss why I think Halloween is just another normal Sunday. Now, the first thing I feel the need to begin with is to explain what I mean when I say that Halloween is just another normal Sunday, because if we're going by what that literally means, then yes, I am correct, because Halloween does in fact transpire on Sunday, so point proven, right? Well, while it is objectively true that Halloween does happen on Sunday, that's not quite what I mean. Days likewise to such aren't supposed to feel like normal days, even for people who don't celebrate said days, because despite not partaking in the commemorative procedures, it still does feel like there's some kind of aura in the air which insinuates that it's quite the day for some people, that you're not supposed to leave the house expecting the usual 7 AM street like you do on most Sundays. You're going to see people frantically moving around, preparing, and while it is true that some people may experience as such, the feeling of vibrance just isn't well captured for people like me who have no clue what's going on. Speaking of preparation, that brings me to my first point. Because I don't go outside very often, I can't necessarily speak for those who do as such. Specifically while surfing YouTube or simply just taking a glance at Discord, I'd see many people online changing the aesthetics of their profile and whatnot to resemble Halloween. And while refraining from partaking in such practices myself, for reasons I'll discuss in due course, I do find it to be interesting, for they'd only be maintaining said aesthetic for a month or so before changing it back to its prior state. For that reason, I just don't see the point in following such a practice. Not only is it a complete waste of time, but it's pointless as well. Though, it might be true when people say that I'm an 80-year-old man trapped inside of a 13-year-old's body, because I'm also considering the fact that people do it just for fun, and I completely understand that, I really do. But I don't necessarily see it as fun because I see it as a complete waste of time to change my name, profile picture and banner to something, keep it there for a month and then revert it back to its normal state and then proceed to act like nothing happened. However, that might just be me, because now that I look at it, I do see quite a few people doing it, and I do understand that they're just having fun. But I guess there does exist people like me who see anything that's not sitting at a desk all day planning video essays as a waste of time. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here. The main point I'm trying to get across here is that I don't necessarily see the value in changing up my profile's aesthetic for the sole purpose of a single occasion. Maybe people do it for fun, but I simply see it as a waste of time. With that, I feel like I've gotten my point across. No one would do something if they see it as a waste of time and whatnot, which is the reason I'd rather not change my aesthetic for a month just to change it back to its normal state. Which leads me to my next point. Throughout the course of the month of October, I've kept my profiles the same throughout the month on all social media. Why is that? Well, let's talk about it. I'm aware in the previous part I mentioned the fact that I saw changing my online aesthetic to resemble a more, spooky aesthetic as a waste of time. I do feel as though that I did emphasize that quite enough. However, since that correlated with my reasons for a lack of preparation, I did feel the need to discuss it. In this part, I intend to explore my other reasons for simply keeping everything as is. Though I should add, I intend on exploring reasons other than simply seeing it as a waste of time, such as further expanding upon my reasons for seeing it as pointless, as well as exploring the amount of preparation I'd need to simply change my profile and such. Furthermore, I also intend on talking about time management and how that correlates with the preparation. Earlier, I mentioned the fact that I saw changing my profiles as pointless, which is for a multitude of reasons. One of them being because I know that I'll just change it back to its normal state when the month is over, which warrants me to think that the whole idea of changing my aesthetic is pointless, because I don't necessarily see the point in changing something with knowledge that I'll just revert it back to its normal state in the future. I know that a month seems like a considerable amount of time to some, but it flies before you know it. You change it on the 1st, thinking you won't have to change it again for a while, but before you know it, it's already the 31st and you have to go through all the trouble of reverting things back to normal. Maybe I'm supposedly over-exaggerating when I mention that I don't want to go through all the trouble of changing my profiles because of the time it takes to do so, and to that I say that maybe I am. If anything, it doesn't necessarily take too much time, but then again, Because I see it as pointless, I simply see doing such a thing as unneeded hassle because I don't find it fun to do so. And because I feel that way, I'm obviously going to see it as a waste of time. Another point I'd like to discuss is the amount of time it takes to prepare things like new banners, profile pictures and whatnot. I'm aware that you don't have to do things like that, but I imagine if I personally decided to do something like this, I'd probably prepare my own things and attempt to change things up every year, so I decided that it'd be worth discussing. I personally see this as a factor for why I'd want to decide against changing my aesthetic, because I go through the preparation of creating new banners and whatnot just to change it later, which I think isn't really a good usage of my time, which also leads me back to my point about saying it's a waste of time. Furthermore, why would I change something with full knowledge and certainty that it's going to be reverted back to its prior state? That rhetorical question alone leads me to perceive it as pointless. One thing that correlates with the idea of preparation for such an occasion is the amount of time it takes to create them. Essentially what I'm saying here is that my idea of time management heavily correlates with the preparation, and here I intend on exploring that a little further. As I alluded to earlier, I don't see making new banners and whatnot as a good usage of my time, simply because I see it as pointless. Furthermore, I feel as though that there are better things I could be doing rather than making a new banner or drawing some stupid outfit. Mind you, I chose a basic orange sweater for a reason. I feel as though I've thoroughly discussed what I felt was necessary to get my point across for this video. With that, there's nowhere else to go but forward, which leads me to my conclusion. So, let's conclude things then. Overall, I feel as though the points I discussed in this video explore my reasoning for seeing things as pointless. I'm not one for normal Halloween preparations, partially because I don't celebrate it, and even if I did I'd probably be too unbothered to do so. However, since I rarely see people in real life preparing for the occasion, I thought it'd be suitable to discuss the preparations people make online, their banners, profile pictures, display names and whatnot. For as long as I've been on the internet, I've specifically chosen not to do those things because I see it as pointless and a mismanagement of my time. I'll just say this now, I didn't make this video so I can rain on people's parade. If people find this fun, more power to you. I didn't really mention this in the beginning of this video, but I didn't make this video to express my points through objectivity. This was all just my opinion, and I didn't really mean to rain on anyone's parade, so I do apologise if it did come off as such. If you do find those things fun, then I respect that. This video was just entirely my opinion, and I'm not forcing anyone to agree or disagree with me. But the fact is, everything I said was just my opinion, and it's the reason I see Halloween as just another normal Sunday. Now, hearing that I just said this video was just my opinion, one could argue that no one asked, and to that, I say good point. And also, so, there's the video. I hope you all enjoyed it. This was quite the video to work on, and I'm hoping to get it done on time. But if I don't, then I'm unsure of when you're seeing this. That aside, I haven't necessarily got anything else I want to say, so I'll go ahead with the normal procedure. If you want to follow me, then my socials will be linked in the description, as well as any afterthoughts or messages I want to add. With that, I have nothing else to say, so I'll see you all in my next video. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I wish you all a very pleasant evening.